Okay, this isn't a very exciting video probably, but I'm basically just eating my lunch, which is steamed kale, red cabbage, which was prepared by my wife, and a bed of lettuce, and I sprinkled some nutritional yeast on there, a little bit of black salt, and a bit of liquid aminos. So it's obviously a pretty lazy lunch, but I don't get a long lunch break when I'm working from home. Needed to get back to my computer, so that's what it is. There was more than that. The bowl was pretty full. I've kind of eaten half of it already because I love it. I know people always say, "Oh, social media is just full of people uploading their lunch." Well, yeah, that is. I am literally uploading me eating my lunch. But hopefully, as I do this, I'm going to try and do this every day because I am 365 vegan. But if I don't, I am still functioning vegan 365 days a year. Give or take leap years. So I can always fall back on that excuse. But hopefully I'll do a video every day. It's the 20th of January already, 2021. So I've got 20 days to catch up on. But I'll let myself off because I've got no self-control. But yeah, hopefully I'll maybe come up with some more interesting things to say, discuss, and obviously eat at some point. But for now, I'll probably just be uploading what I ate. It is Veganuary. I've been vegan for about 5 years, and yeah, some people are probably wondering, if you're thinking about going vegan or whatever, you just want to get an idea what people eat. Maybe that'll be even just useful, even if I do just upload what I'm eating. Maybe it'll be useful for that. But yeah, hopefully I'll come up with some amazing ideas and things to discuss. But I'm also looking forward to just having more of a dialogue online. Not sure what to do. The whole vegan YouTubing does often tend to get hit up pretty hard by trolls, bacon though, etc. I'm not sure what to do in those situations. Maybe just block, but then it is good to be able to say what you think, but sometimes I wonder if trolls, it's not really what they're thinking. It's almost like a troll's comment doesn't necessarily reflect what that person's like. When we're kids, sometimes we do stupid things like was it ring and run? It was one of the things that of course I never did that. Children I knew in my area would sometimes ring on doorbells and then run away. And then you see the person, the homeowner or the person who lives in the house comes to the door and looks around and they can't see anyone. And then obviously at that point you either start laughing from the bushes or whatever. And I see that's kind of like trolling is a bit like that. It's like the modern equivalent of that kind of thing, or like when you'd ring up and order a pizza to get delivered to order a pizza somewhere. This was before the days. This is when you could just phone up and order a pizza and you didn't have to prepay. And obviously food wastage probably wasn't such a key topic. So nowadays I wouldn't think of ordering a pizza to someone that didn't want it, because that would be just blatantly wasting food. But yeah, I see trolling as like the modern equivalent of that. So what you'd do, you'd ring up a pizza place and order a pizza to either like an address, and you'd stand nearby and watch the pizza being delivered to the person, and then obviously the pizza guy would knock on the door, and the person, they'd say, "Oh, here's your pizza," and the person would be like, "Oh, I didn't order a pizza." And they go, "Yep, right, here's the address. Yep, someone ordered a pizza here." I think we might have done this once, but it was certainly something which I heard other people had done, and yeah, obviously not cool, but it seemed funny when you're like 10. But yeah, so I thought of that the other day, and I guess maybe that is my thought for this video. It's like, it's very easy to get bogged down in a whole world of trolls when you're on YouTube. For any, even the most innocuous video can turn into kind of like, insane levels of like abuse hurled at each other in the YouTube comments. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's witty, sometimes it's just cruel. But it's pretty frustrating, and in a time when people are trying to manage their mental health. YouTube is massive. Obviously, a lot of people have mobile phones these days. It's very easy to get on YouTube, and you can find yourself reading through these comments, not just on YouTube, but also, on general web pages. When people are free on the internet to comment, there is a tendency to become keyboard gangsters. I've probably been guilty of it in the past, but yeah. Anyway, don't really know where I'm going with this, but thought for the day is, if you're reading or coming into contact with trolls, sometimes, I can't speak for everyone, but sometimes the reaction can be that you want to sort of shout back at them and hurl abuse back. It just gets worse and worse, and it can get personal, and you can just, maybe you find you manage to write the ultimate YouTube comment that shuts them up, or manage to, like kind of, you know what I mean? It's the perfect response to their stupid comment, but oftentimes it's just going to turn into a big battle going back and forth, and each person thinks they're right, or has the last word, and it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a great way. You wouldn't do that in real life, probably. If you're in the street and you said something, people probably wouldn't just come out and just start disagreeing with you, or like saying random things. Like, if you're in a restaurant and you ordered a vegan meal, or you asked, do you do any, what are your vegan options? You wouldn't expect someone standing in the queue next to you to go, I could never be a vegan because bacon or cheese, or that kind of thing. So you wouldn't often get into these situations. But if someone did say that, it's not a good idea to start getting into these and hurling abuse back, because things can turn nasty. You never know what someone's background is, or what's got them to that point. And someone hurling abuse at you, they may be unhinged, they've had a very, very difficult life, and they might have just got to that breaking point. Or they might just be thinking they're funny. But yeah, I think engaging in arguments, obviously it's great to have debates and discuss things, but when it's just hurling abuse back and forth, it doesn't seem to be that constructive. It doesn't really get you anywhere. If you come up with an amazing insult, it might make you feel like a clever clogs. But that might then make the other person feel really bad and whatever. I'm not kind of like defending either side or whatever, but yeah, I just thought I've found it very difficult in the past, especially with like commenting on vegan issues, and you know, it's very difficult to. You have to be almost like super polite to someone who's got the opposite view to you. Like, say for example, a keen carnivore. You know, if you even mention you're vegan in a situation, in a discussion in the comments, you know, you can find the first reaction can be, because you know, some people can feel attacked if you say you're vegan, because you know that kind of stands for you know, veganism is oh man, I can't believe I've got my definition to hand, but you know, veganism. Okay, yeah. So this is the one I was looking for. Is the Vegan Society definition. Obviously, not the only one, but it's the one I tend to reference. Veganism is a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. Okay, so you know, if you start talking about you don't eat animal products because you know you think it's cruel, well then the person who's standing there with the bacon sandwich in their hand could be like, oh, so what, you're saying I'm cruel? I'm not cruel, I'm a nice person. You know, it's that kind of dynamic. So yeah, just talking about veganism online can turn into a kind of troll fest pretty quickly. But in my experience, I've sort of taken a very like passive, or you know, make a very passive comment, or like, you know, really state that you really understand where someone's coming from, and not just be like, oh, I can't believe you're eating bacon. You know, just say, yeah, because I did 5-6 years ago. I was eating meat. I guess we slowly went down a transition of going from eating meat to going like, you know, pescatarian and vegetarian. And as I educated myself more, you know, you start to realise that there is cruelty in all these industries. That's another discussion, but you know what I'm saying. Animals are affected. You know, they don't walk into those fields. They don't walk into those slaughterhouses. You know, so whatever. I don't want to get into a discussion about welfare at this stage, because at the end of the day, you can't argue that those animals, they're not there by choice. And anyway, sorry, that wasn't my point, but yeah, so if it does, you know, when you start, you know, you try and have a normal discussion, things get trolly pretty quickly. But if what I found, once you go like, you know, you say, look, I really understand where you're coming from, and like, it was hard for me too. Like, you know, I didn't give up meat because I didn't like the taste of it. I gave it up for other reasons, ethical reasons, moral, whatever. And you know, when there's people who feel like they're you know, if their job involves animals, you know, if you're a farmer or in the industry, you may feel like you have no other options. And if you just, you know, understand that someone feels like that, then at that point you can then maybe have a normal discussion, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, like, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from, and that sort of thing. And like, I could never do it, but good talking to you. It's really eye-opening, that sort of thing. You get those coming more, and then you feel like, wow, I actually had a conversation with a human, and we thought about what each other were thinking, and maybe influence each other a little bit, and maybe moving forwards, you know, things will get easier or better, rather than just, I feel rubbish now because I just had an argument with someone and they're really rude about me and I was really rude back at them. Yeah. But yeah, so maybe troll behaviour, when someone's trolling, they may not be a troll in their life. It may just be that freedom that they've been given. You know, when you're online, most of the time, people aren't, you know, you can say anything really, and no one's it's not gonna come back on you so much. You know, as you go in the street and start saying these things, you know, it could range from either getting in, you know, serious argument or a fight or whatever, much worse, you know, and that could escalate and lead to all sorts of horrible things. But yeah, so maybe when you hear some trollish comments, try not to do the obvious thing and just react back aggressively. You can maybe try and find out why someone feels angry or whatever. And I don't know, some people are just there to argue, but most of the time you can probably get to the bottom of it and have some sort of like common ground. And at the end of the day, I think you'll feel a lot better about things. Worked for me anyway. Well, so anyway, that's my first kind of 365 vegan video. It was literally just me eating my lunch, which, as I said, was red cabbage, which my wife made. So it had some like seasoning in there, like a kind of Bavarian type recipe, I guess. And then I just had some steamed kale and a bed of like lettuce underneath, and I put some nutritional yeast, which aka nooch, a bit of liquid aminos, and what was it? Oh yeah, some black salt, which has a kind of sulphurous kind of flavour, which sounds a bit gross, but it is actually pretty good. It's used sometimes in like egg replacement type recipes. Also known as kale namak. Apologies if I've butchered the pronunciation there. Ooh, I said butchered. Can you be a vegan and use the word butcher? I butchered something. That means I'm not vegan. I joke. Kale namak is a kiln-fired rock salt used in South Asia with a sulphurous, pungent smell. It is also known as Himalayan black salt, Suleimani namak, Birenun, Bitlobon, Kalalun or Padalun, and manufactured from the salts from regions surrounding the Himalayas. There you go. Thanks, Wikipedia. Anyway, yeah, this is pretty much my first video on this channel, certainly for 2021. I'm mainly interested to just have a dialogue with people and just discuss stuff and just enjoy, you know, the online community. I've been out of it for a while. I've been on it in other forms previously, but yeah, just kind of wanted to get back into it. And it's a good way to kind of have conversations and contact with more people in this pandemic time. So yeah, looking forward to discussing things. And yeah, I guess if there are trolls, maybe I'll try and take my own advice and engage in a peaceful manner. Or worst case, people get blocked or deleted. But I don't like to do that so much. But I guess if I'll see how it goes, and if things get nasty, then maybe I'll be deleting comments. But you know, don't just want to turn it into like a kind of vegan echo chamber where you can only be vegan, or you can only, you know what I mean? You can't even question it, because you sometimes have to question things before you realise that, you know, it's the way to go. But yeah, so I'm really mumbling really badly. I didn't kind of plan to do this video. I just sort of did it on spur of the moment, because I always procrastinate really badly and then never end up doing anything. So yeah, I literally thought I'd start today by filming me eating my lunch, and hopefully had some sort of interesting conversation. Probably it's pretty rambling. Maybe getting on for 20 minutes is probably a bit long. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, and you know, hopefully catch you next time. Okay, 365 Vegan signing off. Bye.